At Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport, Malaysian flight MH17, like this one, takes off for the final time.
To ensure that their phones are also off for the
Moments
flight.
before, a passenger captures the last moments of boarding and hits send. Settling in is Canadian Andre Angel and his German girlfriend Olga Yopa.
He was going to Bali, that was the final destination.
Anka is Andre's mother.
They were extremely excited. They were planning everything to the last details for quite a while.
MH17's flight path from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur would take it overhead eastern Ukraine, an active war zone.
Direct to TIKNA. Malaysian 17, how do you read me? Malaysian 17, Deeper Raider.
51 kilometers from the Russian border, air traffic controllers get no response.
Malaysian 17, Deeper Raider.
In the fields near Grabovec, a giant plume signals a mass disaster and sets off a chain of global blame and cover-up. It is a gruesome scene. Burning wreckage strewn for 25 kilometers. Bodies drop from the sky. 298 people were on board that flight, and within a few hours, hundreds of families, like the Angels in Canada, would get the most devastating news of their lives.
I remember calling these guys. I was asking them if there are any survivors.
I guess at first we just blocked. I was trying to go to the computer and find out information, and I wasn't able to do anything.
I don't really think any of us remember those first few days.
Okay, but it's not in a day or anything like that, so...
From the moment of explosion, MH17 was plagued by politics. Russian-backed rebels controlled the crash area. Retrieving bodies and evidence got ensnared by the warring factions. It took days to pick up the bodies and put them on trains, and weeks to repatriate the coffins to the Netherlands. All the while, the families waited in agony.
I guess it goes through your mind, maybe a miracle happened, maybe he survived. Even after standing by his coffin, we are still hoping it's a mistake. Even now, I guess. We know that he's gone, but we are still hoping.
For the Angels, this year has been the longest and toughest. Andre's spirit, at age 24, is kept alive everywhere in their home, including in his former bedroom, as it was. Is it hard to come in here?
No, we love coming here. Sometimes we sleep here. That was, I guess it was in first grade.
Yeah, grade 1.
Over this year, they've received 2 boxes of his belongings, this one treasured.
Good, right? His name is somewhere. Yeah, it means a lot for us.
Anka reaches in for another box.
I'll show you everything.
This one actually came first, last October.
So this is, we wanted to see it, but yeah.
It is the shirt he wore that day. Singed, burned,
This is intact.
quite unbearable.
And his driver license is intact, and his visa. Nothing happened to them. And I bought him this. And I know he loved it. I understood they didn't know what's happening. They never knew that the plane is going down. Or
Do you think they...
I hope it was instant. Yeah, I'm glad we got them back.
The pain of MH17 crosses many borders and countless canals, felt most acutely here in the Netherlands. Malaysian Air departed from Amsterdam, and most of the victims, 196, were Dutch. Over the last year, the focus of MH17 has shifted away from grief to blame. Here at Hilse-Rijn Air Base in the Netherlands, the Dutch Safety Board is conducting a painstaking forensic investigation. We weren't allowed in during this final critical phase, but in March, Safety Board video showed parts of MH17 recovered from Ukraine. Investigators are reconstructing sections like the cockpit to prove what brought it down. The Safety Board's report, due in October, is expected to confirm the type of missile, where it was launched, and who controlled the area. But no one has yet cracked the most pressing questions. Who shot down the plane, using what weaponry? That's the focus of a second criminal investigation. And according to their strongest theory yet, the plane was shot out of the sky by a surface-to-air missile called a Buk. The Buk is a transportable surface-to-air missile launcher, first designed in the 70s in the Soviet Union and part of both Russia's and Ukraine's arsenal. On July 17th, investigators suspect the Buk locked on a large target, then fired a missile 10 kilometers up, exploding it near the cockpit, sending thousands of pieces of shrapnel into the plane. In Rotterdam, a joint team of 5 countries is investigating MH17.
It was the theory in which we have the most evidence.
Fred Westerbeck is the chief prosecutor.
We have put it out.
The JIT posted a YouTube video urging witnesses to come forward. They want to know who saw a Buk traveling through eastern Ukraine on July 16th to 18th, and what does anyone know about its crew? So you put out a YouTube video. Here are pictures of the Buk traveling through eastern Ukraine. Here are some of the voices involved with that convoy. Here are their names or nicknames.
Yes.
That sounds to me like a lot of evidence.
Yes.
So it's unclear to me why you can't say that is the theory that we believe, period.
This theory is for us at this moment the most important theory we are investigating because of the fact that we have a lot of information in that direction. But I have to repeat myself and say we are not that far that we can definitely conclude.
Already, plenty of amateur photos, video, and intercepted phone conversations implicate pro-Russian separatists. We just shot down a plane, says one of the separatists, allegedly telling a colonel in Russia's intelligence directorate. Damn it, says another man. It's a civilian plane. It's effing bad.
Sometimes we know the voices and we think we know who they are, but then we still have to prove that they really are. So you have to do voice recognition. And if you have to do voice recognition, you have to find these people.
Have you interviewed them?
No, we have not interviewed them.
Why not?
No. Because you start the interviewing when you are far enough in your investigation, and we are not at that stage yet.
This June, Dutch investigators collected soil samples from possible launch sites, but they were forced out of the Luhansk area before their work was done. How confident are you, as the lead investigator, that someone or some parties, by name, will be held responsible, will be prosecuted for this crime?
I have no reason to doubt that. I'm pretty sure we can find out what has happened. If anybody is going to be held responsible is a question only the judge in court can give.
The families are hungry for news. Back in Canada last week, Soren Engel got an update from the JIT. So this just came tonight?
Yes.
The police officer at the door?
Yes.
A 6-page report.
The evidence that
it
must have been a
Buk
missile is much stronger.
So does it tell you anything about
No.
your questions?
Absolutely no.
Soren and Anka emigrated to Canada from Romania in 1998. Their 2 kids, Lexi and Andre, grew up in Ajax, Ontario. They were tight.
He was my best friend. We were so close. I'm not going to have nieces and nephews. I'm not going to have my brother at my wedding. And sometimes I just get so mad.
Who do you blame, Soren?
I don't know who pressed the button and who launched that missile. But the Russians are guilty because they started that conflict in that area, and because of that, this tragedy happened.
Soren brought his family to Canada, in part to shelter them from political conflicts in Eastern Europe.
To put as much distance as we could between us and the Russians. Didn't work so well for us, for Andrei.
But Russia, from the moment the plane went down till now, has deflected all accusation, firmly placing the blame elsewhere.
Самолета Boeing 777 малайзийских авиалиний.
4 days after the crash, the Russian Ministry of Defense suggested first that a Ukrainian fighter jet shot down MH17, or that it was a Ukrainian Buk.
Зенитных ракетных комплексов БУК.
The Russian Federation did not deliver to the rebels any anti-aircraft missile systems, Buk M1, and other equipment as well.
They made kind of 4 major claims, and now it seems that all those claims have been debunked.
Elliot Higgins is an investigative blogger digging deep into MH17. He's sharing his data, part of the puzzle, with NATO and with Dutch investigators. Using tweets, chats, uploaded photos and video, Higgins' team has punched gaping holes in Russia's defense, posting their own findings on the site Bellingcat. Example: satellite photos supplied by Russia of an East Ukraine military base.
July 14th, you can see this Buk missile launcher. It's in the base, it's parked with a group of 4 vehicles. Now, on the July 17th image they presented, some of those vehicles and the Buk missile launcher are gone.
Bellingcat compared Russia's photo with an independent satellite photo. The Buk is there.
We actually purchased the July 17th image, and it's still there. You can actually go through several months of imagery and see that didn't move at all. Seeing this is information they presented to the world only a few days after MH17 was shot down, to the families of the victims as well, it's quite shocking that they just lied to the people's faces.
This week, Soren and Anka came to Amsterdam, a place Andrei loved. They're on a quest to connect with other families and to get answers, convinced there's more than one guilty party.
I blame Malaysians, first of all, because they shouldn't have been there. How can you allow someone to fly over a war zone? It's a war, right?
Last July, separatist rebels shot down 4 Ukrainian jet fighters and a big military transport plane. 3 days before MH17, the European Air Traffic Control strongly urged Ukraine to close its airspace altogether. Instead, Ukraine restricted part of it, up to 32,000 feet. MH17 entered Ukraine flying at 33,000 feet, only 1,000 above the restriction.
They were trying to save some gas, or that they were just dumb. And
Malaysia Airlines could face a class action lawsuit. As for a criminal trial, that will prove even more difficult.
Yeah, this is also a challenge.
Hirten Knops is an international criminal lawyer who says MH17 could get caught up in a legal noose.
This is a case where politics and law are closely intertwined.
Malaysia is pressing the UN for an international tribunal to prosecute MH17, but early signs are Russia would block it.
There is a huge difference between what the politicians are saying what should happen with justice and the reality in court. It's a huge difference. And I think the government has also a responsibility to give a fair picture to the relatives of the victims and not to set the expectations too high, to be realistic, and also to inform them in time that there is a scenario thinkable that there will never be a trial, that ultimately the responsible individuals for the downing of the MH17 can probably never go to trial.
little comfort for those who've lost so much. Soren, do you expect that someone will be held accountable?
Probably not. I really don't see any government on this world going to Russia and point the finger and say, yes, it's your fault.
We all know, and we only want an apology. Just tell us why. It won't change anything, but we deserve that. All the family who love the loved one, all those kids and young people, an apology.
How would that help?
I don't know. It's like apologizing to him, not to me.
Last fall, the Angles cremated Andre in Amsterdam and brought his ashes home.
We have his room, we have the bench by the lake.
Overlooking Lake Ontario. Most nights, Anka and Soren come here to find some peace, to remember their beloved son, killed in his prime by a distant war. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Ajax, Ontario.